Hey guys, Ronan Talkin here. I figured I'd put up a follow-up video for that first one. I thought I'd put some hands to the PowerPoint. I know that sometimes it's a little bit difficult to learn something without putting it into context during the game. So I figured I'd filter through some hands that I played at 200 and L 6 max. I filtered for hands that I 3-bet while I was on the button at 1-2 and 50-cent dollar. So hopefully this will, put some context to it. And I'm not saying that I was playing perfectly, especially back then, and I still don't play perfectly, obviously. So I'm going to go through and, find out where I was making mistakes, I guess, and call myself an idiot several times, I'm sure. So let's take a look at a few hands. So this first one here was at 100 and L. It looks like my opponent, well, I don't know who the villain is, let's see. Alright, so this guy opens in the cutoff. I have my HUD popped up so that I can look at his pre-flop raise in the cutoff. It's 18%. His folded 3-bet overall was 100%, but it looks like that's over a very small sample size. And then notes on what I can flat. The most difficult part of structuring a polarized 3-bet range, and that's usually what I do as a standard on the button versus a cutoff range, because I don't expect to be flat out of position very often when I 3-bet at the low stakes. So most people are competent enough to know they shouldn't be flatting 3-bets out of position very often. So it looks like over a pretty large sample size, over a small sample size, this guy's kind of a nit, which is probably a reason that I shouldn't be 3-betting him nearly as often. So I would probably really reel back on my 3-bets, and I would also not be able to flat as many hands profitably against his opens, even in the cutoff. I mean, it's 18%, but that's still pretty tight for the cutoff. And then in the blinds, we have this guy. It looks like he's not playing back too much. He's positionally aware. It looks like he plays way too many hands in the small blind, strangely enough. Not just squeezing or 3-betting an absurd amount. Yeah, he's folding 90% of steals. And this guy is playing back a little bit more, especially in the big blind. It looks like he's playing back about 25% of his hands. And in the big blind, he is not 3-betting very often. It looks like he's flatting a ton of hands out of position. So that might be a good spot to flat, to induce a call from John Patan over here. So I think I can flat a reasonably wide range on the button here, but not absurd, because at least not as absurd as I would against a more laggy open from MN 20. So if I pull open PokerStove over here, I'm assuming that MN is going to stack off of the range similar to this, facing a 3-bet from me. I can't, really comment on the validity of that statement, but it's very possible he throws 10s or even 7s plus in there. I mean, ace queen off suited. I don't know. Just an idea of a range. I'm going to probably structure my value 3-bet range, and by that I mean I'm willing to 5-bet shove. Something like queens plus ace king. Queens is, player dependent. Obviously this should really change based on your opponent's stack off range, but I'm pretty nitty when it comes to that. So, and I don't want to 3-bet this guy because I don't think he's folding all that exploitably. Even though he has 100% fold to 3-bet percentage, he's not opening super wide. I mean, the benefit is that since he's a net and he's opening up his game a little bit, he's probably not used to adjusting to 3-bets in cutoff versus button scenarios, so he's probably unable to change to readjust when I start 3-betting him a lot. So I might be able to get away with it there. But normally I would just assume that I can't flat most ace-x suiteds. So I just 3-bet those, and maybe some king-x suiteds. And then that's probably it. I doubt he's going to be flatting many 3-bets out of position, so I'm pretty much just going to flat, or 3-bet these hands. So the fact that so I wake up with king-deuce offsuit over here, and, it's not in my 3-bet range, I should almost definitely fold, I think. I 3-bet, which is, I think, a misplay. So I suck. Let's move on to the next hand. Something that another queen deuce. This one's a queen deuce suited, so it's possible that it's in our range, and it depends on who opens, what I can flat profitably. Once again, we have to figure out what we can flat profitably before we figure out our error range. Let's just keep my stack off range the same. Okay, so Carlos is a pretty loose player. It doesn't look like he opens all that wide. The cutoff, it looks like, yeah, he's opening about 15%. Where's his steal percentage here? And the cutoff, yeah, he's stealing about 23%, so he's opening pretty wide. And he's probably going to be folding to a steal more often than I need him to be for it to be directly profitable. His fold to 3-bet overall is 86%, which is definitely too much. If you're folding more than 2/3 of the time, you're probably just offering up money just from the fold. Your opponent doesn't have to have any equity when he 3-bets. So the blinds. Now my question is, are the blinds squeezing a lot? Doesn't look like it, because both of the, I mean, I have almost no sample size against this guy over here in the big blind, but against the small blind I have 1,000 hands, and he just looks pretty standard, kind of tight. So he's probably not opening up his game much in the small blind. So I think I can get away with a lot of flats. So I'm probably going to be flatting a lot of these suited aces that I would like to 3-bet. So instead of 3-betting those, I'm probably going to 3-bet quite a few. I'm probably going to flat King 9 suited. So I probably want my range to be something like this. Keep it around. I mean, I can 3-bet more than this, especially against this guy since he's folding so exploitably. I'll probably throw in, let's see, I probably can't flat these profitably, so I should 3-bet them. 6-5's close. I definitely flat 6-7. I don't know about 6-5. 8-6, but not 7-5 suited, I don't think. It's still just 10%. I feel like you can probably eke out a little bit more from this guy. I don't know if I can flat the offsuit aces, so I should probably 3-bet them before any others. Against these guys, I mean, I have no problem shooting up to 15% or so. Let's just keep it there. So this is probably what my 3-bet range looks like against this guy. Whether I want to use ace-x here versus, like, ace-x offsuit versus something more playable post-flop or something with blockers is kind of close. I think I'd rather use the ace-x suited than more of these suited connectors. It's close. I think the equity line is pretty close, but the ace-x is blockers. I don't know. So queen 2 suited is definitely my 3-bet range, so it looks like a 3-bet, and I like to play, so looks like we took it down. Cool post-flop spots. Another queen x suited hand. And this is just a guide on how you should be. Here's a great spot. This is a guide